take a look at these photos. These are all pictures that I took at the very start of my photography career 14, 15 years ago, and obviously, they're not good. I made a ton of mistakes at the start of my career, and honestly, getting better at my photography is not just about improving my skills as a photographer. There's a lot more to it than that. And if you're just getting into photography, whether as a hobby or you want it to become your full-time job, odds are you're making at least one of these mistakes as well, and they're holding you back. Like I said, I've been there. Speaking from experience, all these mistakes are things that you have to go through, but in this video, we're gonna lay out 7 of the most common mistakes that even I've been through as a photographer along my journey, so that hopefully you can avoid them and grow faster. And real quick, huge shout out to today's video sponsor, PIXPA. More on them in a second. All right, mistake number 1. Mistake number 1. Relying too much on auto. Now, don't get me wrong, auto is a great place to start, and honestly, I recommend it for most photographers to start in auto because it allows you to focus on things that are not your camera settings. Composition, rule of thirds, leading lines, telling a story, adding emotion to your images. But over time, auto can be a huge limiting factor to you having more freedom and more flexibility with your photography. Manual allows you to take full control over the creative aspect of your images by changing every camera setting that your camera has to offer. This will 100% impact things like the emotion and the mood and the energy that your photo is trying to convey. And I actually made a whole video about my 1, 2, 3 step method to learn manual mode, but if you're not quite there yet, I recommend learning one setting at a time, and here's how. Without going into too much detail, there are 3 settings on your camera that you need to worry about. There's ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. That is the exposure triangle. And to learn one of those at a time, there are actually pre-built-in modes on your camera that can help you with that. On most cameras, a program mode will allow you to change just the ISO, and every other setting will be on automatic. There's also most likely a shutter priority mode, which will allow you to only change the shutter speed, and again, every other setting will be on auto. This is great if you want to control the motion in your images. Let's say you're shooting sports or race cars or a fast moving object and you want to freeze motion, or you want to intentionally slow motion and add blur to your images. Using shutter priority will definitely help with that. And then there's aperture priority, where the only setting that you'll change is the aperture. This is great if you want to control how much of the image is in focus. Do you want to shoot a portrait at f1.8 to get a really blurry and creamy background? Or do you want to shoot a landscape at f16 to ensure that everything from the foreground to the middle subject to the background is all in focus? Those 3 different modes, program, shutter priority, and aperture priority, will allow you to learn one manual setting at a time. And I do think this is important because if you just rely on auto mode, you are definitely limiting your creative abilities with your camera. All right, next up, mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is to ignore light. Now, light is everything when it comes to photography. It is what adds emotion, helps tell the story, set the tone and the mood for an image. Light cannot be under stress. And the mistake here is to just shoot anywhere, anytime, and not take light into consideration. Now, when it comes to natural light, there's golden hour, there's open shade, there's window light, there's harsh sunlight. There's all different types of light that are super important to learn about, understand, and actually be able to apply to your images. In fact, for me, one of the easiest tells that a photographer is more amateur and less pro is their light in their images. How well they understand the relationship between light and their subject. And overall, just not allowing light to help tell the story more. Mistake number 3 is to obsess over gear. Now, here's the thing about gear. Obviously, gear is the thing that enables you to take amazing pictures and to bring your creativity to life. But it should not consume you and be a limiting factor as to why you can or cannot create something. Now, here is my honest philosophy around gear. I think that you can make amazing images and make a lot of money with pictures taken with your iPhone or even a very simple digital camera. But I also think it is important to realize when you are hitting the wall with your gear. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if there are actual technical things that you cannot do with your existing gear that you want to do to bring your creativity to life, that is when more gear or better equipment might come in handy. For example, right now, my camera that I shoot most of my work on is a 30 megapixel camera, but only recently in the past 6 months, I thought about upgrading to a 50 megapixel or 100 megapixel camera because I genuinely feel like I'm hitting the wall with just 30 megapixels. But it is a huge mistake to just obsess over the gear and think that you can't make anything because of the gear you have. My tip here would be to simplify it and boil down your vision down to the simplest possible thing. How can I bring my image to life with just the gear I have? This is the most important thing, and this is the most common mistake when it comes to gear. Mistake number 4 is not having a strong portfolio or website to showcase your amazing work. As you get better at your craft and better at photography, you need a place to showcase that work and make sure that clients can find you, appreciate what you do, and most importantly, contact you. In the modern day of social media, most people just resort to having an Instagram page where they throw all their pictures on there and call that their portfolio. And even though that can be effective on a very bite-sized scale, it is not a complete picture of you as a photographer and as a business, which is where today's sponsor comes in, PIXPA. I have my portfolio and website built on PIXPA and I absolutely love it. So first and foremost, a good portfolio or website will need a landing page or a homepage, which is what the viewer will first see when they come onto your website. My homepage has my name on the top, a slideshow of some of my favorite images that I think really represent who I am as a photographer. Below that, a very short 2-sentence bio about who I am, and right off the bat, a direct link and button to get in contact with me. On the upper left, we have a couple of social media icons, and on the upper right, we have a hamburger menu. Let's look into that. So I've chosen to keep my website pretty concise and to the point, which is why I only have a few key pages: brand work, personal work, a shop page, about, and contact. If we go into the brand work page, I've built the brand work page to be a bit of a gallery layout where I display each individual brand that I've done some sort of shoot for in the past. A few that we have here are Cadillac, Canada Goose, St. Regis Hotel, Mono's Luggage, and Polestar, for example. Let's go into the one for the St. Regis. This will open up a full gallery page of images that really give an immersive experience into that exact project and that exact brand. If you're just starting out, you might not have a long list of brands that you've worked with, but this is where the importance of spec work comes into play. Spec work is work that you do strictly out of passion and fun and to build the portfolio. There's no direct affiliation with a brand, there's no payment changing hands, it is just you and your creativity in the name of building your portfolio. And funny enough, even after all these years, some of my best work has been spec work, probably because there was no pressure or attachments or deliverables in mind. It was just me and my creativity. On the personal work page, I have 4 different tiles that each have a title or a category of images on them. We have portraits, food and beverage, travel and tourism, and goods. And then once again, if you click into any of those tiles, it opens up a full screen gallery page of my favorite photos in each of those categories. Now the key with a good gallery is that you don't want to have too many photos. I recommend between 15 to 20 images per category just to not overwhelm the person looking at your website, but rather give them a very clear and concise view of who you are as a photographer and as a creative person. All right, next up is the shop page, and on shop we have prints. One of my favorite features about PIXPA is that it gives you the ability to sell prints directly on your website and ship them directly to the customer that's buying the print using a service called White House Custom Color, which is an online dropshipping print house. So on my print page, I have a collection of images that I have available for sale in a number of different sizes and orientations and layouts and framing, no framing, mats, no mats. All of those things are available because of that really easy integration with White House Custom Colors and PIXPA. So if we go into an image and press buy image on the top, I have options for both regular prints, large prints, as well as framed prints. From there, the customer can purchase a print right on my site and get it shipped directly to their doorstep. Below the shop page is my about page. Again, very concise and to the point. We have one image of me with a camera, very contextual, a headline sentence, as well as a short paragraph, again, all about me. Obviously, you want to keep this photography oriented and say what kind of photographer you are in the space, but you can also be a bit lighthearted and funny in this section as well, just to break the ice a bit. And again, right on the about page, I have a button that says contact me, which will lead us to my contact page. On my contact page, very simple, I have a form that you can fill out, which goes directly to my email, which I can then answer from there. And that is a look at my entire website. Now, one of my favorite features about PIXPA is actually something that isn't even public facing on my site all the time, but it is client galleries. This is a great way for you to upload images from a shoot to send to a client. From there, the client can do more selects on the images and favorite certain images. They can download all the images or just one or two, and you can even set it up where the client directly purchases the images right in the gallery. The galleries, like I said, are private, separate from the website, but they do have the same overall aesthetic and look and feel. As you can tell, PIXPA is built for creatives, photographers, videographers, and content creators in mind, which is honestly why it's my favorite website and portfolio builder. If you guys want to check out PIXPA, I've left a link down below with an awesome discount for you all. But without further ado, mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 is poor composition habits. Now this is a big one because composition is what makes your photo look, in my opinion, correct. And a good composition will just make your photo feel more harmonious, feel more natural, and much more pleasing to the eye. There are a ton of different composition tips and tricks and styles like rule of thirds and leading lines, but there are a million other composition styles that can also make your photos super interesting. What I recommend here is choosing a composition style, going out and shooting only that style. Take rule of thirds for example. Go out with your camera and only try utilizing rule of thirds for every single style of shot just to see how your photography is impacted by that decision. Some really common mistakes with composition include always centering your subjects, having really busy or annoying backgrounds, and putting attention or focus on things in the image that really are not relevant. You want somebody to look at your image and know exactly what the subject is, what the story is, and where their eye should be going. So mistake number 5, bad composition habits. Mistake number 6 is not shooting enough, and here's why you're probably making this mistake. You see, when you're a beginner at, well, anything, the tendency is to spend so much time in the textbook, in YouTube videos, in tutorials, and not enough time actually going out to do the thing. And photography is very much like that. It often feels like if you don't have someone to shoot with or have a specific thing to shoot, like a wedding or engagement or a product, that you might just sit back and be like, well, what's the point of shooting? There's really no point at all. I may as well stay home and just learn more. But the problem with that is the same problem with any level of education. You see, whether it's high school, college, or university, the one thing that you have to do with the knowledge that you learn is actually apply it. And in the photography world, that means learning something, a new skill or a new technique, and then going out and trying it out yourself. So what I would urge you to do is take your camera out more. Learn one skill online or in a book and go out that same day and shoot. Try out that technique, try out that new skill to see if you can actually apply it to your work. And I get it, we're busy with shoots. We have to do pre-production, we have to actually execute on the shoot, we have to do post-production, and we have to do client relations in between all that. It's a lot of work, and after a long project, you probably just want to sit back and do nothing but revel in the amazing work that you just made, but that might not necessarily help you grow and expand your skill set. So mistake number 6, not shooting enough. Take the time to learn stuff, yes, but take even more time to go out and shoot. Last but not least, mistake number 7, not taking the time to review and critique your work. Now this is definitely one that slips through the cracks because most people don't want to be honest with themselves and most people don't want to take the time to face the harsh truth. In any line of work, in any industry, and especially in an art form, it is so crucial to look back and give yourself that feedback. Are you happy with what you shot? Are there things you could have done better? Are there things that you did too much of, too little of, or perfectly fine? You see, there are so many different sides to photography that it is a lot for one person, you and me, to actually just know for certain if you're doing everything correctly. So what I like to do, even though it's very simple and very basic, I like to have an iPhone note or a Google Doc and actually critique and give myself feedback after every shoot. How did I plan for the shoot? How can I plan better? How was the shoot itself? The shooting process, the editing, every single aspect of a shoot can be critiqued and improved on. And this is the time that, yes, you want to be honest with yourself and give yourself that harsh truth, because why bother sugarcoating? You want to make sure that you can improve for next time, improve your craft, and ultimately take better photos. So this mistake might be the hardest for you to correct, but it also might be the most crucial to your growth. So if you take the time to actually improve on these 7 mistakes, you're going to save so much time, so much frustration, and so much energy, and ultimately grow a lot more as a photographer. Massive shout out to PIXPA for sponsoring and powering this video. For a really awesome discount on your next website or portfolio, make sure you guys check out PIXPA in the description. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the like button, and leave a comment down below on what you want to see more of on my channel here. But until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.